All right, folks, we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a real pleasure to introduce my first guest this evening. He is the WBA and IBF heavyweight champion of the world. His recent fight against Lennox Lewis ended in one of the most controversial decisions in boxing history. Please welcome Evander "The Real Deal" Holyfield. Nice to have you, Evander. Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you.
Good to have you here. Now, obviously, you're an amazing athlete, one of the greatest fighters of all time. A lot of people, though, saw that fight, and they thought you lost. Why do you think they felt that way?
Well, it's just my opinion. I guess neither one of us did a lot. But, you know, it just pretty much what the commentator was pretty much saying anyway.
Well, you've seen a tape of the fight. You've watched it. If you were the judge, who would you give the fight to?
Of course, I would have given it to myself 13-14.
Don King is going to make you a judge in the next one, probably. Let's talk about the judges for a second. A lot of controversy there. First of all, we have a picture here of some of the judges watching the fight, and we thought that... nice to see they let the shake out for an evening. One of the judges said something that a lot of people thought was pretty unbelievable. She said, "I don't remember seeing that night because of views obstructed by photographers in Lewis's body. I had the worst seat at the fight." This is a judge, one of three, who's judging the fight. Do you think she had a bad view of the fight?
Well, I'm not for sure.
Where should these people be sitting? I mean, she's in the front row. Should they be hanging above the ring on ropes?
You know, actually, you do have the photographers in your way sometimes. It's all depending on which angle the fighters are fighting. You know, this could have been at some point in time that she wasn't able to see the whole fight.
Okay. Well, let's talk about this. You made a prediction, but you never make predictions. Never do it. Before this fight, you finally decide, I'm going to make a prediction. You said TKO in the third round. That's what you said, or by the third round. Now, are you going to make predictions anymore after this?
Well, no.
Are you done with predictions, you think?
Well, I am, but you know, that wasn't me. In the point of time, I said it out of anger because of something that he said, which allowed me to say, well, I'm just going to knock you out in the third round. Then people said, what you said? I said, I'm going to knock him out in the third round. So everywhere I went, everybody said, are you going to knock him out in the third round? So I didn't want to back down to what I said. And but in all, you know, the prediction now would be the same. I'm going to whip him.
Just going to whip him. You're gonna just stick to the very simple, I will whip you. Okay?
Exactly.
All right, from now on, that's a good way to go. Let's talk about your life for a second. I was reading in some magazine you've got a giant house, huge house. How many rooms does this house have?
101.
101 rooms. Have you seen these rooms? Do you know? Have you been there? What do you need 101 rooms for? Are there rooms that just have other rooms in them? The storage? What?
Well, you know, I'm thinking about the family. The family gonna get bigger and bigger.
That would make sense in my family. What are you talking about? You really want to have that many kids, you think?
Well, you know, when I got the house built, I was talking about generation. It's not like I built this house just for me. You know, for a generation. You know, 3 or 4 generations.
Well, some of you will die off. Others will continue. All right, 101 rooms, though. That sounds like a great. It sounds like a great house.
Well, it is.
Yeah, how do you get around from one room to the next? Is there like conveyor belts? I mean, how do you go? How do you get around?
Well, you walk up and down.
You have a bowling alley in this house, is that right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Are you a good bowler?
I'm a little better than my opponent.
You're better than your opponent.
A little bit better, not much.
So you always win. Is that your point?
Well, in one sense or another.
So if I were to bowl you, and I'm not very good, you'd beat me by just a little bit.
Just a little bit, just to keep you coming.
That's very sporting of you, champ. The scoring in bowling, though, is a lot easier. You score as you go. There's no confusion afterwards. You also have a restaurant coming out?
Yes.
Holyfield's?
Yes.
Good name.
Grill. Yes.
Are you going to have, is this going to be one of those restaurants where you have lots of cool memorabilia? There,
well,
like...
It won't be that. It won't be that. It'd be a restaurant where that people come in and wine and dine. Somewhere you take your lady to a nice place.
I take my lady to a memorabilia restaurant. Yeah. And if you had a restaurant where it's like the piece of ear is in glass, I'd go there. Wow, there it is. Have you thought about that?
Well,
what happened? Really. Didn't somebody, speaking of the piece of ear, someone bought it, didn't they?
Well, I heard that they did, but you know, who wants to dry up ear?
I wanted that dried up ear. It sold for, I heard it sold for $30,000.
I heard that too.
If I were you, I'd be clipping off other pieces. You want one of these? It's good with dip. What? We're all friends here. Well, I want to check this place out. Where is the restaurant?
It's in Atlanta. It's on Roswell Road.
Okay. All right. You can give away the location of the restaurant. I don't want people showing up at my restaurant. You have a website, www.eholyfield.com, and it was very nice having you on the show. I know that, you know, a lot of people...
Don't let it in, Conan O'Brien. Ain't that wonderful? Don't let it in. It's a fantastic interview. Holyfield and O'Brien. Only in America.
Don King, everybody.
Only in America. What a phantasmalicious interview. Holyfield and Conan O'Brien. It's the great Evander and the albino salamander. Ain't it wonderful?
Thanks a lot there, Don. Yeah, thank you.
Conan O'Brien, my thin as a rail, freckled and pale, disturbingly frail friend. Just look at you with Evander. The reigning heavyweight versus the guy who can't get a date.
All right.
The champ with the knockout blow versus the Mick with the pasty white glow.
All right.
Ain't it wonderful?
Just enough,
Ain't it
Don?
fantastic? Only in America. It's Evander, the real deal versus the guy who can't cop a field.
All right.
Ain't it fantastic?
It's true, though.
$49.95. It's the ultimate warrior versus the late night warrior.
Oh.
It's the fighter with class versus the man with no ass.
All right.
Ain't it wonderful?
Do me a favor. Would you take care of him for me?
Try to understand. It's the fighter who can